All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are resuming the docket. The court is calling. Mark Trimmer Jr., the case number is Mr. Trimmer, case number 204-406-971. Mark Anthony Trimmer, and the charge is violation of the firearms ordinance. If Mark Anthony Trimmer is in the virtual courtroom, please say your name for the record.
Mark Trimmer.
Thank you, Mr. Trimmer. And the court is also calling Lloyd Austin. The case number is U578-00920. Lloyd James Austin, and the charge is narcotic drug violation. If Mr. Lloyd James Austin is in the virtual courtroom, please say your name for the record.
I am present. My name is Lloyd James Austin. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Mr. Austin, the court notes, sir, that you are connected by audio only, and that is because you are using a landline. But we have had a discussion, and for your next court date, you will avail yourself of some device that will allow you to connect with video. Is that right, Mr. Austin?
That is correct, Your Honor.
That's our agreement, correct?
That is our agreement, correct, Your Honor.
All right, sir, thank you. Who's representing Mr. Trimmer Jr. and Mr. Austin?
Attorney Arnold Reed II on behalf of the defendants, P84142.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. How do you wish to proceed?
Both Mr. Austin and Mr. Trimmer would like a pretrial date, and until then, each of them will plead not guilty.
All right, sir. And are they waiving formal reading of the complaint? Yes. All right, yes, gentlemen. The court will enter not guilty plea for each of you. Your pretrial date is June 11 at 9 a.m. That is the pretrial date for both Mr. Trimmer Jr. and Mr. Austin. Both of you are being given a personal bond. That means you will not have to pay any money, but you must return on June 11 at 9 a.m. for your pretrial. Are there any questions, Mr. Trimmer or Mr. Austin?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, may I ask a question? Lloyd Austin speaking.
Yes, sir.
Will I be notified, or will there be any communication by mail, and maybe concerning representation, as I am on a Social Security disability, which allots me less than $800 a month, and I'm not able to attain my own representation?
All right, sir. If you are not able to be represented or to hire your own attorney, the court will appoint counsel for you. So that counsel will be on the Zoom technology the same way it was today when you reconnect on the 11th of June.
Thank you, Your Honor. And just for the record, that if there's any communication needed, possibly a phone number by mail.
Mr. Austin, does the court have your correct address in the file, or have you moved?
I have not moved, Your Honor.
Okay, then we will, they will send you a notification, but the mail has been unreliable. So I am not certain that it will be received, but I'm telling you now what that date is and the time.
Understood. Just wanted the communication barrier noted for whomever may be representing me.
Oh, no.
Any communication prior to that date?
No representative will contact you. It would be just the court sending you a hearing confirmation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You'll meet the attorney and be able to speak to the attorney on that day if you need to.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, sir, and you may disconnect.
Thank you.
Right. The court is calling Mr. Trimmer, you may also disconnect, sir. And the
Okay.
court is calling Mr. James Taylor. The case number is U587-62520, James Carl Taylor, soliciting, aiding, and abetting for an act of prostitution. Is Mr. James Taylor in the virtual courtroom? Mr. James Taylor. I see you, sir. Unmute yourself.
There you go. Yes, I am.
Your name for the record.
James Taylor.
Thank you. Who's representing Mr. Taylor?
Attorney Arnold Reed II on behalf of the defendant, B84142.
Thank you. Mr. Reed, how do you wish to proceed with Mr. Taylor?
Your Honor, we are going to accept the offer of the prosecution, which would be to plead guilty, and it will be therefore amended to disorderly conduct. I'd want to state for the record that the prosecutor has also made several sentencing recommendations, including an HIV/STI test, a counseling sessions, and community service hours to be set by the court. Additionally, I'd like to state for the record that Mr. Taylor has gotten STD testing, and that was a few weeks ago. And I let him know that the court may ask him to get more tests because 3 weeks ago was some time now. So.
Okay, when was the incident? What's the date of the incident? He's gotten STD testing since this
Yes.
incident?
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Okay, well, if he can provide that documentation to the court, we will accept it as long as it was after this incident. All right, Mr. Taylor, you've heard the representation of your lawyer. Are you in agreement with this representation?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
And sir, were you advised of your right to a trial?
Yes.
And Mr. Taylor, you know, sir, that if you were to have a trial, it would normally take place in person in the 36th District Court, but because of the pandemic, the courthouse is closed to the public. And so you have agreed to participate on the Zoom technology, is that right?
Correct.
And sir, did you have an opportunity to speak to your attorney about all of your rights?
Yes.
Did anyone threaten you, force you, or promise you anything in exchange for your plea?
No.
Mr. Taylor, are you pleading guilty of your own free will?
Yes.
And sir, are you pleading guilty because you are actually guilty?
Yes.
And sir, do you understand that by pleading guilty, you will waive your right to a trial?
Yes.
And sir, knowing that you're waiving your right to a trial, it's my understanding you wish to go forward with the guilty plea today, is that right?
Correct.
Please raise your right hand and be sworn. Sir, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, you may lower your hand. On the date, the time, and the location, sir, indicated in the ticket ending in 00920, were you in this? Oh, I'm sorry, that's not you, Mr. Taylor. Wrong information, wrong ticket number. On the date, the time, and the location indicated in the ticket ending in 62520, were you in the city of Detroit, sir?
Yes.
And sir, what did you do to cause you to plead guilty to the charge of soliciting, aiding, and abetting for an act of prostitution?
I was just soliciting a prostitute.
Okay, was it actually a prostitute, sir, or was it an undercover police officer?
No, it was a prostitute.
All right. Mr. Reed, are you satisfied?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
All right. The court will accept the guilty plea, being satisfied with the factual basis Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
have you ever been charged with this offense before, sir?
Yes.
You have? How many times?
Just once.
How long ago was that?
They were like within 2 months of each other.
Really?
I had
Is
had
this-
COVID and a couple strokes, and my mind wasn't right. I ain't
You
been
had a
in
couple of
Detroit since.
strokes?
Yeah, I had COVID back in April last year, and I died on the table, and I had 3 strokes when they woke me up. So my mind ain't been right, and I made a mistake.
Are you employed, Mr. Taylor?
I am not, because of the strokes and everything. I had to retire because I'm on a
Okay.
cane.
Now, Mr. Taylor, you could be complicating your health even further by engaging in this kind of conduct.
Yes,
You never know what you're going to get from a prostitute.
exactly.
All right, sir. The prosecutor has offered you the opportunity to have this charge reduced or amended to disorderly conduct, which will allow you to avoid the sex offense in your record
Okay.
and the mandatory jail term that would go with that offense. So the court is going to accept the disorderly conduct amendment, provided you have an HIV test, unless you indicated you had had a test, HIV test recently.
Yeah.
If that test was after this incident, what's the
Yes.
date of this incident, Madam Clerk? What's the date of this incident?
11/19/2020.
11/19/2020. So thank you. When did you have your AIDS test?
That was like 3 weeks ago.
Okay, if you bring the court documentation that you had that test, you do not have to show me what the results were, but just documentation that you had that test 3 weeks ago, or any date after this 11/19/2020, we will accept that. We
Okay.
are also going to require that you take the misdemeanor morality class that's online. Because of the health status, in other words, you told me you have had 3 strokes and you're on a cane. I don't think you would be eligible for community service. So I'm going to waive that as a condition, but I am going to require that you pay. I'm going to give you the same reduction in the fines and costs that I gave the other person charged similarly today. So that would be $240. I know you're on a reduced income and not able to work. So if you need more than 30 days, we can give you that.
No, that should be good.
Okay, so I'm going to give you return date in 30 days. I want you to have taken that misdemeanor morality program. It's online.
Yeah, is it the same number that she had gave the other guy?
Yes, Madam Clerk,
Okay.
she'll give it to you again to make
No,
sure.
I got it.
Okay, and then your $240, sir, and we will permanently amend this charge. We're going to give you return date, and I do want that documentation
Okay.
of the HIV test that you took. And Mr. Taylor, okay, hopefully 30 days will be enough for you to have accomplished all of this. So, Madam Clerk, what was the date again? May 13?
Yes, Your Honor.
May 13, sir. So at
Okay.
9 a.m. That's your review date,
I'm sorry, what time?
9 a.m.
All right, cool.
All right, sir. Any
Thank
questions?
you very much.
You're welcome, Mr. Taylor. Good luck. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. The court is going to call Nathaniel Trimble, case number SP112-43181. Nathaniel John Trimble improper license, SP 112-43091, same defendant, civil infraction, driving 11 to 15 miles per hour over the speed limit, and count 2 of that same ticket is no proof of insurance. Is Mr. Nathaniel John Trimble in the virtual courtroom? If so, please say your name for the record. Mr. Trimble, I can't hear you, sir. Unmute yourself.
My name is Nathaniel.
Thank you. Mr. Trimble, how do you wish to, who's representing Mr. Trimble?
Attorney Arnold Reed II on behalf of the defendant, P84142.
And Mr. Reed, how do you wish to proceed?
Mr. Trimble is going to accept the deal that the prosecution has offered, in which he's going to plead responsible to the first count of ticket SP 1124309. So he's going to plead responsible to that count 1, and that charge will be then amended to limited access for 11 to 15 miles per hour over the limit. And the prosecutor has offered to drop count 2 of that ticket, SP 1124309. Count 2 will be dismissed, and the second ticket, SP 1124318, count 1, will also be dismissed.
So Mr. Trimble is just pleading to the civil infraction, which is being amended to limited access.
Yes, he's pleading responsible to that, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. Trimble, the court does not need to take you through the same constitutional script as we would with misdemeanor offense, sir. So we just need you to plead responsible to the civil infraction of driving 11 to 15 miles over the speed limit, or to the reduced charge, rather, of limited access. Are you pleading responsible to the charge of limited access, Mr. Trimble?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, do you have a total for Mr. Trimble?
Yes, Your Honor, 135.
$135, sir. Since this is a civil infraction, the time frame for payment is 14 days. Are you able to pay that $135 within 14 days, Mr. Trimble?
Yes.
All right, sir. If you have no other questions, you may disconnect from the hearing.
Okay, you said it's at $135, right?
Correct. You know how to pay online, 36districtcourt.org, online, the DivDat app, or in person at 36 District Court on the first floor at the pay window, or in the lobby at the kiosk.
Okay, sure. I do kiosk.
Okay, sir, thank you. You may disconnect from the hearing, and the court is calling Mr. Kalawachu eBay. Mr. Kalawache eBay. eBay Kalawachu. I think I messed that up, sir, but SP 104-67601. eBay Kelechukwa. KELECHUKWU, and the charge is license improper. If Mr. Kelechukwe is in the virtual courtroom,
I'm here.
please say your name for the record.
Kalachuku eBay.
Mr. Kelechukwu eBay, I'm going to apologize to you because I know you were scheduled for 8:30 this morning and came back this afternoon, and I'm calling you last. That is not an intentional situation. I'm sorry. It just happened that way. Please forgive me, sir. All right, who is representing Mr. Kelechukwe eBay?
Attorney Arnold Reed II on behalf of the defendant, B84142.
And Mr. Reed, how do you wish to proceed?
Mr. eBay is going to accept the prosecutor's deal, going to plead guilty, and as such, charge is going to be amended to failure to display.
Okay, so thank you. Mr. eBay, you've heard the representation of your lawyer. Are you in agreement with that representation?
Yes.
Sir, were you advised of your right to a trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
And sir, if you were to have a trial, normally it would take place in person in the 36th District Court. But because of the pandemic, the courthouse is closed to the public, and so you have agreed to participate on the Zoom technology. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Mr. eBay, did you have an opportunity to speak to your attorney about all of your rights?
Yes, I did, Your
Sir,
Honor.
did anyone threaten you, force you, or promise you anything in exchange for your plea?
No.
Are you pleading guilty of your own free will?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Guilty of not having
Pardon?
a license on me?
Right.
Yes.
And sir, knowing that you are waiving your right to a trial, you wish to go forward with a guilty plea. Is that right?
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, you may lower your hand. And Mr. eBay, on the date, the time, and the location indicated in the ticket ending in 467-601, were you driving a vehicle in the city of Detroit?
Yeah.
Were you stopped by a police officer who asked you for a valid license?
Yes.
Were you able to show that officer a valid driver's license?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Are you satisfied, Mr. Reed?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
The court will accept the guilty plea, being satisfied with the factual basis. The court will also accept the recommendation to amend the charge to failure to display, which is a 0-point offense. Madam Clerk, do you have a total for Mr. eBay?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Total for Mr. eBay. For failure. Go ahead.
240 for the plea, and he has a $45 reinstatement fee with a total of $285.
Thank you. $285, Mr. eBay. Do you need more than 30 days to pay?
No.
Did you post a bond, sir?
I believe I paid like $100 already.
Madam Clerk, do you see a bond for Mr. eBay?
One moment, Your Honor.
I'm just curious. This charges, this bond is all the other charges that we were hearing today.
Is it what now?
It's the same amount of money. Like it costs the same amount as everything else that.
No, they're all different. They are all different fees. There's a fee schedule, and there's a different fee for every charge.
Okay.
Why? It sounds the same to you? You think it
just sounded like I was paying more for not having a license than
oh, it's right here on the fee schedule. You can you see it? I'm holding it up. And Madam Clerk has one too, so.
Okay.
It's $240 for the plea you just took, and then you have a $45 reinstatement fee, which brings your total to $285, and you posted a $100 bond.
So we can apply your bond, and that will leave you with a balance of $185. And that $45 additional fee, sir, is the Secretary of State's mandatory reinstatement fee for a traffic offense. The other matters today I was able to give them a reduced fee. They were sex offenses. That $240, I had them pay that for a sex offense. Normally it's more.
No, I know. I was just, no,
But you don't have to do what they have to do. You don't have to take the misdemeanor morality class. You don't have to go get an HIV test.
No, I
You
just
have to
didn't
pay the fine.
I'm gonna pay that. I was just curious. Yeah.
No. Okay, sir. All right. And you can pay that within the 30 days. If you have no other question, Mr. eBay, you may disconnect, sir. Thank you. And we have Mr. Torres back. Mr. Torres, your client is
XHAFERI, Your Honor. Thank you.
XHAFERI.
And thank you for waiting for me.
This is case number U57286220, Mifal Exaferi, XHAFERI, and the charge is offering to engage the services of another for an act of prostitution. Is Mr. Exaferi in the virtual courtroom? If so, please say your name for the record.
Mifal Jaferi.
Thank you. And who is representing Mr. Exaferi?
Peter Torres, P68242 here on behalf of the defendant. It's an arraignment. We can waive the formal reading and ask the court to enter a plea of not guilty.
All right, sir, the court will enter a not guilty plea for Mr. Exaferi. We will give you the pretrial date, sir, of June 11, 2021 at 9 a.m. on which to return. That will be a Zoom connection, the same way you connected today, but it will be at 9 a.m. We will give you a personal bond. Means you do not have to pay any money, but you must return on June 11 at 9 a.m. Any questions, Mr. Torres or Mr. Exaferi?
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, you may disconnect from the hearing. The court is disconnecting from the live stream.